Bellator 258 full card predictions and the betting preview. Fun main event, Archuleta versus Pettis. That's for the bantamweight title. Cool main event got switched around a bit. Yoel Romero pulls out. Rumble Johnson now takes on a new opponent and a lot lesser known, Jose Augusto Azevedo, who is actually a Pitbull Brothers protege. We'll talk about those fights a little bit later. We're going to start it off with the first fight of the night. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. The goal for this video, I'd like 65 likes. I believe we can do it. So smash the like button. Subscribe too. Let's start it off. First fight of the night. Lorenz Larkin, Rafael Carvalho. Larkin was originally supposed to fight Costano Vanstinas. He now takes on Rafael Carvalho. It's at 185. If you remember, Lorenz Larkin in the UFC struggled at 185. Definitely wasn't his best. His best performances are at 170. He also actually fought at light heavyweight at one point. He lost to King Mo back in Strikeforce. He never looked as good above 170 pounds. I just feel like his body at 170 performs at a very high level. He's not undersized. You move him up here, he's fighting Carvalho, who's 6'3", 4 inches taller than the 5'11 Larkin. He also brings a 78-inch reach versus the 72.5. There's going to be some serious issues from kickboxing range here for Lorenz, and he really does shine there. Granted, with Larkin, you will see him coming forward, rushing in, looking for big shots, but he sets them up well, and he's extremely explosive. The problem is here, his opponent Carvalho, the former champion at middleweight, is a very good striker with the Muay Thai style, has excellent kicks, can switch his stances very nicely, and he's also pretty well versed in the clinch. This is not an easy fight for Lorenz Larkin. Larkin's got 4 straight decision wins. His opponent here, Carvalho, 4 wins by decision on the record, and he also does bring 12 wins by knockout. I don't feel we see a knockout in this fight. I think it does go the distance for sure, but Carvalho being the bigger and longer guy, I think is a serious problem for Lorenz Larkin here. I'm going to pick Rafael Carvalho by a decision. I could see Larkin winning a round. I could see a 29-28, but I don't know if he can beat Carvalho here. The odds, I don't believe they've been released for this fight just yet. Let's see if they are up now, though, because earlier in the day they were not. No, they're not. But I do believe Larkin might be a slight favorite. He's on a 4-fight win streak versus, you look at Carvalho, hasn't had the best past two-fight losing streak for him. Granted, different stylistic matchup, striker on striker here. I'm going to pick Carvalho to win this. He is the former champion. Got to give him his due respect, especially in this matchup against the smaller Lorenz Larkin. I do expect Carvalho to be the dog. I like him by decision. I like fight going the distance here. I'm going Carvalho. To start off the night, I like that fight a lot. Patchy Mix, Albert Morales. Mix just recently challenged for the world title, and now he fights against Albert Morales. The bout order is definitely subject to change. You notice it with Tapology. Sometimes they don't always have it right, so we'll find out by the end of the week if they do. But this fight right here, Patchy Mix, Albert Morales, I like this matchup. It's definitely seems to be a bit of a tune-up fight for Patchy Mix. It's not that Morales isn't game. He's an ex-UFC fighter. He does have some decent boxing and speed. I don't feel his style, though, will match up very well against Patchy. Patchy's very good on the ground. He's an excellent grappler. 9 wins by submission out of the 13. I think he's going to get on top of Albert Morales here, and he's going to tap him out. You look at Morales' last 3 losses, 2 out of the 3 submission losses. Patchy Mix is going to win this fight by submission. I believe in the first round. I like Patchy Mix. If you're going to bet a prop bet, I think him by submission is definitely a very live one. See if we can find Patchy Mix here, if the odds are up. Am I not seeing it, or are they not here? No, odds are not here yet for the Patchy Mix fight versus Albert Morales. Do expect Patchy to be a very strong favorite. If you're going to bet him, parlay him, or prop bet him for a submission, I would say, because I think he's going to open up at like minus 360. Maybe he was going to work his way to like minus 600, minus 700 for sure. He beats Albert Morales here. Definitely a bit of a level difference, even when you look at the records. Big difference. Next fight of the night, Logan Storley and Omar Hussein. Hussein actually fought and lost to Max Roshkov. I don't know if you guys remember him like a year ago in the UFC, the corner stoppage, and there was the controversy or whatnot saying, should the corner have been more open to stopping him. But that's besides the point. He lost to him. He's taken on Logan Storley, who's a very difficult matchup and proven to be a beast of a wrestler. You look at his last fight, he fought Amosov, and he went to a decision, split decision, lost there. I gotta be honest, Logan Storley is an animal on the ground. He's taking on Hussein, who is a southpaw with some quality kickboxing skills, and he's pretty fast with those kicks. But I think the level difference will be evident as far as the clinch exchanges go. I think Storley's going to get this fight to the ground, and if his opponent gets back up to his feet, I think he's going to get it down again. I think he's going to be able to probably put it on Omar Hussein. I think TKO, ground and pound, round number 2 for Logan Storley in this fight. 11-1, he just had his first pro loss, and I mean, as I said, it's a Mosov by a split decision who's fighting for the world title now against Douglas Lima. It's Logan Storley here all day. He's going to beat Omar Hussein. Let's check out if the odds are up for this fight now. So far, we haven't had luck with the odds. Not seeing them here either. Yeah, not up either, but we know Logan Storley's going to be a strong favorite. I like him as a parlay piece. I don't love the prop bet by TKO unless the value is going to be there. He definitely could do it, and he probably will, but just on the off, it goes to decision. But we'll see later on in the week when we cover this event after the weigh-ins where it's at. And then I can probably throw the betting odds in the description for the fights that aren't listed here as they come out. So I'll definitely do that. So if you're watching later, you'll be seeing the betting odds inside of that description. Erik Perez versus Blaine Shutt. Erik Perez has kind of had a disappointing run since coming over to Bellator. He got knocked out in 54 seconds, I believe, in the first fight. And he lost a decision in his most recent one. He takes on Shutt here, who's a pretty good wrestler, has a very aggressive style, and he comes in with heavy volume. He does have 6 wins by submission. Erik Perez, on the other hand, is also a pretty aggressive striker. Chin down, and he comes forward to exchange. He is on a 2-fight losing streak. He also brings in 8 submissions, so I do think on the ground, competitive. I will say Shutt does have some pretty decent wrestling, but still, I don't think it's anything Perez hasn't seen before. I do believe he'll be able to handle Blaine Shutt here. I'm predicting that Erik Perez wins this fight. I think he does so by a unanimous decision over Blaine Shutt. I think that he has quite a array of skills, especially with the striking, and I think he's competent enough with his skill set right now to beat Blaine Shutt. I mean, his last loss wasn't a terrible loss to Josh Hill. Prior to that, though, Toby Masech got him quick, but I don't think this fight goes like that. I think that would be very unlikely. Minus 485 is Erik Perez. Blaine Shutt, the plus 350. Very common with Bellator. You see widespread odds. There's no props just yet, but for this one, fight goes the distance is the one that I like, to be 100% honest with you guys. Recent loss for him was decision. Recent loss for Erik Perez, decision. I like Erik Perez winning this fight by a decision. The next fight of the night, Henry Corrales versus Johnny Campbell. Campbell's ear in his last fight got completely destroyed, and now takes on Henry Corrales. He's coming off that loss where his ear was destroyed. The doctor stopped that fight, but prior to that, he had a good little streak going for himself. Henry Corrales here, 18-5 as a pro, coming off a win against Brandon Gertz, who's no easy out. Corrales has been in there with some good names. Knockout win over Aaron Pico. He did have 2 losses to Archuleta and Darion Caldwell. Very forgivable. Top guys in the world. This fight here at bantamweight, really like this fight. I think we have a very interesting matchup here between these two. Johnny Cupcakes Campbell is not a bad fighter by any means. Not super well known, but he's a wild striker, and he likes to throw some weird, looping type big punches with a lot of power behind them. He's awkward, I would say, and he does have 8 KO wins on the record. You look at Corrales, 7 KO wins on the record. I think could be a knockout here. I think it's going to be Corrales getting the knockout because we have never seen Corrales knocked out before. Granted, he was stunned against Aaron Pico. Campbell, 2 losses by knockout. I think that Corrales will be his 3rd defeat by knockout. I predict TKO or knockout, round number 2 for Henry Corrales over Johnny Campbell. Let's check the odds out here. Minus 550 to plus 400, ranging around that as expected. Henry Corrales, lock pick, parlay piece. Want to bet him straight, you can. But I personally prefer parlay pickup for this one here. Henry Corrales, or maybe even prop bet it by knockout. But Corrales should be victorious in this fight over Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. Next fight of the night, Weber Almeida versus Johnny Soto. Let's talk about this fight here. Soto, good wrestler with heavy top control. He hasn't really even fought mid-level competition yet. Let's quickly look at the opponents. 0-2, Jesus Mondragon, Ferdinand Das Hendrik 0-0, and Chris Sandin was 1-15, and he fought a debuting fighter in his debut. I feel like the level difference of opponents is going to be serious. 7-4, 4-2, 1-0, 0-0. I mean, a little higher level. Granted, 33 years old. There's Weber Almeida. Johnny Soto's 28. Almeida has to get at it quickly if he wants to become a contender, especially in the featherweight division. He's already at an age where fighters might start coming out of their prime. Granted, doesn't have the damage from having all the fights in his 20s. Still, I do think he needs to move quickly for his career, and he needs to look impressive here. He is Almeida, a southpaw with stance switches that are very high level. He has a very interesting karate-esque style, and he's a good kickboxer. I mean, he rips shots to the body. He can kick you in the head as well, and all his wins are by knockout. And I'd say he's pretty well-rounded too. Soto just doesn't bring high-level experience to this matchup, but I do think he does have good wrestling and could potentially get some takedowns. But I still think Almeida should win here. I think he can do it by knockout or TKO, and I think he has to do it by that method to really push his career forward. If he has a difficult fight here, it's going to show maybe the ceiling is not so high for Weber Almeida, especially with the odds right now being -435 to +325. Picking Almeida, I do think he should win it and will win it. We'll see what level he's at. I feel like he's just fought the much higher level competition, but he is 33, so it could be concerning. I'm confident that he will be victorious, but just some notable things that do exist with Weber Almeida, which could be potential issues, coming in here against a younger Johnny Soto. I don't think it will be, but next fight, Johnny Eblen versus Daniel Madrid. Middleweight battle here. Eblen, pretty good. Taylor Johnson, 6-1, beat him by unanimous decision. You look at Johnson, he beat Ed Ruth the fight prior to that. Mauricio Alonso, unanimous decision. Chauncey Foxworth, unanimous decision. And then some fights outside of Bellator. Daniel Madrid, former LFA champion. And he also beat Pat Casey in his Bellator fight. His last one being with 6-2. I mean, he's taken a step against a very stern test of a young kid. 37 is Madrid, so now or never. 29 is Eblen. You look at the stylistic matchup. You have a very good wrestler. Able to definitely employ his game plan on most opponents, and he does have improving stand-up game. I gotta say one thing about Eblen, the Korean Canelo. That's a fantastic nickname, but I don't know. Maybe he must be Korean. I guess so. I don't know if he looks like it with the orange hair. Maybe it's what's throwing it off. I could see, I guess, why they call him the Korean Canelo. But totally off subject. But one thing I want to now say about Madrid, you look at the ways he wins fights. 15 submission wins. Does bring 3 knockout losses to the table. Still, I feel like we're going to see Eblen use his wrestling to grind out a decision here. I think he pulls it off against Daniel Madrid, but Madrid definitely does have a good submission game, and if he threw something up off his back, could catch him if it was early, but I don't believe he will. I think Johnny Eblen is a pretty safe pick here to win this fight against the aging Daniel Madrid. Looking at the odds for this one, if they exist, let's see. +290 Madrid, Eblen -380. Eblen is more of a parlay pickup here. I don't see him losing the fight, to be 100% honest. I think he's going to beat Daniel Madrid, as he should in this one. Next fight is Raufeon Stots and Josh Hill, bantamweight battle. Stots is very good. I think he's working his way towards that title shot. I mean, he's teammate of Sergio Pettis, who's fighting for the world title in the main event on this card. Josh Hill, also very skilled, hasn't lost since outside of Bellator. I mean, he's doing fantastic. Beat Erik Perez, beat Vinny Asani. Granted, has never fought somebody like Raufeon Stots, or rather Raufeon Stots. I feel like you're going to see with Stots a lot of wrestling. He's excellent with it, very efficient when he's on top, and he's going to control most of his opponents on the ground. He's got 8 submissions, or rather, 8 decisions and 4 submissions. Also a D2 National Wrestling Champion. His ground game is very difficult to deal with. He's also a southpaw. His opponent, southpaw as well, likes to switch up his stances and is known for pretty decent striking, and also likes to set up some takedowns in his own right, but I don't think he's got the wrestling that Stots does. Hill, known for winning by decision, 13 wins by decision for him. I feel like Stots, though, he takes his fight. It's going to go to the scorecards. Unanimous decision for Raufeon Stots. Looking at the betting odds for this fight right now, they exist. Let's find them. Minus 240 for Stots, plus 180 for Josh Hill. I like Raufeon Stots. I think he's a good parlay pickup, or maybe you pick him by a unanimous decision, because that's how I see him winning this matchup over Josh Hill. Now, the first fight on the main card, very notable Bellator name, Michael Venom Page, MVP. Derek Anderson, longtime fighter now in Bellator. He's been here for a while. He was, the hot prospect coming up, and he's faced some losses, but I think he's still on his way, or at least close to being a top contender. I mean, this is his opportunity. Michael Venom Page is probably, if victorious, fighting for the world title in his next fight. He's very tricky to deal with. The hands are low. The movement is very awkward, but he can also fight more technical and proper, but using that tricky mind game style with his hands low. He definitely plays with fighters. They don't get aggressive enough. If you look, I mean, he likes to enter range with either feinting the left hand or throwing out a jab, and then he throws a big straight right down the center, and if it lands, it does a lot of damage. He hits with a lot of power. The gamesmanship is genius. 10 wins by knockout. He's 6'3" with a 77-inch reach at 170 pounds. He's one of the tallest welterweights out there, and that is going to cause so much issue for other strikers, especially Anderson, a kickboxing style with good kicks from the outside. He's not going to be able to land those kicks from the outside here against Michael Venom Page. He does have some decent wrestling, but still, I think Page is going to be victorious here. Anderson never been knocked out. I could see Page being the first one to put him away and win this fight by knockout. Also could see a unanimous decision for Michael Venom Page, because he does have some unanimous decisions. His last fight against Ross Houston, it was a unanimous decision. I think it might look similar to that, and he might get a unanimous decision over Derek Anderson. Later in the week, we'll see what the prop bet is at. If maybe the risk of Anderson being knocked out for the first time by Michael Venom Page is there, we'd throw it down. But as of right now, I like more a parlay piece with Michael Page, and I do think he wins by a unanimous decision with possibility of knockout. Minus 325 favorite, plus 250. Dog, I don't think the dog has that much of a chance in this one. I think Michael Venom Page is going to play mind games. He's the longer and taller guy. He's going to win here. And he also has the better hands of the two. Next fight, Patricky Pitbull and Peter Queally. Before you write off Peter Queally just yet, because I mean, if you look at the guy, not the most high-level record, not the most high-level opponents, also looks, like an older fighter. Granted, he's the younger of the two. The tough Irishman. You look at his last fight was a win. He stopped Ryan Scope. And if you remember, Patricky Pitbull's last fight in Bellator before he went over to Ryzen was against Ryan Scope, and he won that fight by a split decision. Queally was actually able to get the stoppage. Granted, MMA math doesn't necessarily work, but notable factor. Queally also taller at 5'9", 74.5-inch reach. Patricky Pitbull coming off a loss. He is 35 years of age. He hasn't fought in a year and 4 months. His opponent fought a year and 6 months ago, so I guess neither has been very active as of late, with COVID obviously shutting a lot of events down. Queally's an aggressive Thai-style striker with very good hands. He'll switch his stances up, and as he's throwing straights to enter the pocket, he comes in fast. And it's tricky for a lot of fighters to deal with his striking. I think he's no joke in this matchup against Patricky Pitbull. He's also never been finished. You look at Pitbull, he's a knockout artist, 15 wins by knockout. He's a knockout puncher with very good boxing. His kickboxing obviously is excellent too, but the hands is really where his bread and butter lies. The Irishman is a live dog in this fight. He has a 3.5-inch reach advantage, and I do think this fight can go the distance. I'm nervous to bet Patricky. I feel like maybe a dog or pass bet, because I think Queally is a very live dog, but I do think there is a path to victory for Patricky Pitbull. But at the minus 285 price to the plus 225 dog, kind of liking Queally. Subject to change, but right now I'm going to pick Queally winning this fight by a split decision. I want to see them at weigh-ins against each other. I am going to be throwing down a little something on a Queally upset because I do think he has a chance. If you want to do a prop bet, I see Queally more winning a decision here. Patricky, he could also be the first man to knock out Peter Queally. We're really going to see. I mean, he lost his last fight against a guy that looks pretty good, Tofik Musayev, but that guy hasn't fought since their last bout. So, I don't know. Low confidence dog pickup of Peter Queally here. I think there's paths to victory. If Patricky is absolutely on his game, I feel like he should win, and I think he would be the first man to stop Peter Queally, but I just don't know if that Patricky is necessarily still there. That's for now. I don't know, not loving a bet on the favorite here. If you want to dog or pass it, you can, but tricky fight. Very tricky fight with very interesting options of outcomes here. But let's talk about the next one. Co-main event. Anthony Rumble Johnson, Jose Augusto Azevedo. This fight is very short notice for Azevedo to take on this level of a step up in competition. Listen, Augusto's good with this grappling. He has submissions on the game. He's a Pitbull Brothers protege. If he gets a hold of Rumble, gets on top, I think that Rumble could be in trouble with submissions. But what is the likelihood of that happening? Rumble's been off 4 years. Augusto Azevedo has been off for 4 weeks. I'm concerned about the activity of Rumble. I don't want to pick against Rumble Johnson, but if a prop bet opens up and the odds are good enough, I'm going to throw a little something down on Jose Augusto Azevedo winning this fight by submission, because I think he could. Realistically, Rumble Johnson by knockout is highly likely the outcome if it's the Rumble that we saw 4 years ago, or if it's even 3/4 of him. But who knows? He got a lot bigger. He was doing different things. He was doing a whole different style of training. I do believe he's back. I've been following his Instagram. He looks in incredible shape. I'm going to pick Rumble by knockout in the first round. But I'm just acknowledging we don't know exactly how he's going to look with the amount of time off that he's had at this point. Riding Rumble, but accepting that there could be a legit possibility of an upset for Jose Augusto Azevedo if Rumble is not the same guy, or not even 3/4 of the guy that he once was. We're picking Rumble, though. He should win it. The Rumble we all know and love should win this fight. Main event, Juan Archuleta versus Sergio Pettis. I'm excited to see this matchup. Pettis has looked good since coming over to Bellator, winning 2 in a row. Good win over Ricky Bandejas in the last one. Juan Archuleta, though, man, pulled off a very impressive upset win to get the title against Patchy Mix, who was an undefeated prospect. Is on the rise. Archuleta also has an amazing record, 25-2. Sergio Pettis, 20-5 as a pro. Archuleta is the older of the two at 33 versus the 27-year-old Sergio Pettis. He just hasn't had, that UFC experience where his name was that well known until he's emerged as a top Bellator guy. But he's been fighting as a pro for a fairly long time now. He's a solid striker, and he likes to close distance aggressively. He throws a wide array of punches when doing so. He really mixes up his combinations when closing distance very well. He has pretty good wrestling and knockout power in the hands, and also a ton of movement. He'll circle. The way he moves is fast, and it's at a high level. 11 wins by knockout, 13 decisions, so he can kind of do it all here. Sergio Pettis is an excellent kickboxer with excellent movement. Striking speed is very fast, and he does control range very well and also close distance when getting into closer range well. In this matchup here, the height, 5'6", 5'7", 69-inch reach. It's going to be 50-50 from kickboxing range. I do think the speed of the hips of Pettis could potentially be a factor. I think he's going to land some really nice kicks here. We have seen Pettis out-wrestled in the past, though. How much has his wrestling improved? I do think it's gotten better, but we have seen him put on his back even against Ricky Bandejas. Juan Archuleta has a very tricky style. This is a difficult fight to pick because I do think it's actually pretty competitive. But let's check out the odds. Minus 165 favorite is Juan Archuleta. Plus 135 dog is Sergio Pettis. Pettis, a guy that can go the distance, has gone 5 rounds, has proven he can go 5 rounds. Archuleta is good. But as long as Pettis can fend off the takedowns, I think he outstrikes Juan Archuleta en route to a competitive decision. I see 49-46 or even 48-47. I'm picking Sergio Pettis, the underdog, to win this fight against Juan Archuleta, and I do think he becomes the bantamweight champion here in Bellator, and I cannot wait to see it. Overall, this is a pretty solid Bellator card. Normally would have the UFC prediction already out, but the main event is little bit concerning right now. They don't know exactly who the main event will be, but hey, maybe by the time this is out, I already did the UFC prediction video, so you guys will find out. But there's more. It's not done yet. Let's get over to the betting portion. We're just going to talk parlays, some random ideas we'll throw out there, and we'll talk about definitely some lock parlays, some riskier parlays. We'll do it all here. We can't use every fight because not all the odds are available, but we'll use what we have. All right, Michael Venom Page, minus 325. I like him. I like Henry Corrales here. Another fighter I feel confident in victory. Raufeon Stots as well. Plus 119, Michael Page, Henry Corrales, Raufeon Stots. If you're not looking to put, ton of guys at the top half of the card, like the main event or co-main event, those are a little bit riskier bets. Even though we said the live dogs are here, going to be more risk. This is a little bit safer. If you want to take Raufeon Stots out, you're not feeling 100% confident in him from what's available right now, but I was going to say Logan Storley is going to be an excellent addition to your parlays. I also think another dog pickup, potentially, that's high possibility, is going to be Rafael Carvalho. Still, it's just not available now, so we can't really get into all those. But let's reset this parlay thing here, and I do want to talk about some potential dog parlays. If you're looking at the dogs available right now, I like the idea. Maybe throw Sergio Pettis mixed with Michael Venom Page at plus 207. There's possibility there, but Archuleta's game, and this is a very difficult fight, so that's not going to be the easiest of bets. Page, Stots, Eblen. I don't want to put Almeida just because there's too many unknowns with him at this point. Plus 182 for these four: Erik, Perez, Johnny Eblen, Raufeon Stots, and Michael Venom Page. Not the best look as of right now. I really can't wait till later in the week so we can go through all the updated odds. So make sure you guys tune into the weigh-in recap. We're covering everything in detail. That's available. It will be the night before the fights. Make sure you guys show up for that, not just this earlier in the week full card prediction video. Let's turn off these parlays here, and let's just look at some of the bets one more time. If I'm picking a dog from what I'm seeing right now, I like Pettis a lot. I do think having it's not there, so we can't do it. I was gonna say having a prop bet of Azevedo by submission is something that I plan on doing. I know I'm not seeing it, but I promise you guys it's probably gonna be minimum plus 500. That's a good look for now at the betting portion. Unfortunately, we can't do as much as I wanted because we don't have everything out. So make sure you guys tune into that weigh-in recap, and we'll go over everything. We'll go even deeper than we did here. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I will see you all in the next video.